Hello and welcome to another How to Code Well web chat. My name is Peter Fisher, and today I'm going to talk about some of my web development goals for 2017. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them because I've got quite a few. Some of them I've already achieved, which is pretty awesome. Some of them are pretty big, some of them are pretty small. Now, what I've got in front of me is my awesome little black notebook. Let me show you. It's got a piece of Lego on it. It's got a Lego brick on it. How awesome is that? This was given to me by a good friend of mine. And in here, we've got Web Development Goals 2017. Like I said, I'm not going to go through all of them because there's quite a few. So in no particular order, one of them is to make better use of a Raspberry Pi. So this thing here is a first generation Raspberry Pi that I bought about 2 weeks after it first came out, so quite a long time ago. The case is pretty fantastic. It is built, let me turn that around the right way. It is built by the Linux user group in Shropshire. It's a good sturdy piece of kit, this case. Now, I bought this with good intentions. I was hoping to create an XBMC media center, and that was going to control and manage all of the media, all of the videos that I've got. And I actually wanted to create a copy of all of the DVDs onto hard drives and then connect it to this Raspberry Pi. I actually got this working. I actually got XBMC running on here, connected it to a couple of hard drives, and was using it for a media center for a couple of weeks. It was very sluggish because, I mean, this is the first generation Raspberry Pi. And then life happened. I got very busy, and then Netflix happened, and there wasn't really any point in using this as a media center anymore, because most of the videos that I had were coming on to Netflix and other streaming services. So, and they were doing a better job than I was with this thing. So what I would like to do with this in 2017 is use this as an SSH jump box. So what do I mean by that? I've got some servers on the net with various different providers, and what I would like to do is use the Raspberry Pi as an SSH jump box that I can use to SSH into the Raspberry Pi and then into the various user accounts that I've set up on those servers in the cloud. It'll also help unify the SSH traffic from this office, because I'll be SSHing into the jump box and then having access to those various servers in the cloud. Another thing that I wouldn't mind playing with is using this as a small firewall to certain pieces of infrastructure, from exposing bits and pieces from this office out to the public. Just playing around really in more of a Linux sort of environment. So that's basically it. I mean, I can't really do a lot of stuff on here because, like I said, it's the first generation Raspberry Pi, and I don't want to buy another, the latest generation, because I've already got this and I'm not doing anything with it. So I'd rather do something with this that is tailored around its limitations. And I suppose one of the limitations here is the fact that the RAM isn't that great. So another thing that I want to do in this book is go to at least 3 conferences this year. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, right? Because 3 conferences, that's like three weekends. But last year I didn't go to a single one. I went to a couple of talks, but I never went to a proper conference. The talks were great. It was fantastic. And I met some really interesting people. But this year I want to actually push the boat out a little bit and go to conferences and see some people that perhaps I've seen in YouTube videos when I've watched conferences, as well as people that I've talked to before, put names to faces and just be within the community in the flesh, which is lovely. So I've actually got 2 conferences booked this year. The first is PHP Serbia, and the second is PHP South Coast. I've actually been accepted as an MBCS by the British Computer Society, which is something that I have on here as well, which I've achieved. I'll talk about that later on, maybe as the videos go on. But I know that they've got some talks coming up that I'm looking forward to, and also the network opportunities off the back of that as well. Okay, so another thing in this book is to improve my Python skills. So I do know Python, right? I mean, I've got it running on my blog, like I've said in previous videos. It's what is being used to pull in the videos off of YouTube using the Google API, but I only know enough to get me by. right? What I would like is to understand Python a little bit more. So what I would like to do is go on a couple of courses perhaps this year and basically level up my Python knowledge. So another thing that I would like to do this year is actually put my blog on GitHub. The reason being is because my GitHub profile is very stale at the moment. I've got a couple of projects on there, but they're not being updated. I don't have the time to update them. But the blog is something that is continually going and will hopefully improve over the years, both design and functionality. So that's something that will continue to be developed. And also by putting it on GitHub, it's like it's a source control repository portfolio, if you will, in the sense that you can say to people, this is my GitHub profile, this is what I've been working on. Now, the reason why I haven't done it is because of the time that it takes to move the code from one place to another, sort out the deployment scripts and so forth. So it's going to take a bit of time to do. It's not just a quick thing. And also, in that process, I know what will happen. I'll look at the design and I want to change it. I'll look at the functionality and I want to change it. So I want to do a big revamp, if you will, of the blog at some point. And part of that will be putting it onto GitHub. So another thing on this list is, much like Python, is Node.js. I know enough of Node.js to get me by, but I don't know Node.js perhaps as well as I should do, perhaps as well as I know things like jQuery. And so I would like to spend some time to getting to know it a little bit better. Another thing is Elasticsearch. So I'm currently working on a project with Elasticsearch as well as Docker. And so that's going to be an ongoing thing. So I do have that on my list, but I know that that's going to be achievable because that's what I'm working on. Something on here that isn't really related to web stuff, but I suppose is related to this channel, is I want to get a better camera, because this thing that I've got going on is pretty pants. It's a Logitech 1080p webcam, which sucks for this kind of stuff. So I want to get a proper camera, a proper lighting setup going on as well, which is slowly happening, but can be improved quite a bit. So there's a couple of things in here that I'm not going to talk about, and I don't want to talk about just in case they don't happen, but there's some interesting things ahead, both personally and professionally, that I'll be excited to talk about closer to the time. But I'm going to leave it there. If you've got a development journey that you're on, if you've got some goals that are similar to this, then do let me know. Put them in the comment section below. Like if you found this helpful. Do subscribe to get the web chats as well as the tutorials that I push out every week. Thanks again for watching. Happy coding. I'll see you again next time. Cheers.